Yep, I see
The
it.
industry has found a way, right, to kind of subvert your natural biological drive. We had this desperate need for salt, sugar, fat, and so those are natural biological drives. It's a matter the industry has taken those same drives, turned it against us. Oh, you like sweet? How about some soda pop? Oh, you like salty? How about some chips? How you like, fatty? Well, that's why we evolved this insatiable taste for sweet, right? And for fatty. Number one cause of death, bumping tobacco smoking to number two. Now, cigarettes only kill 500,000 Americans every year, whereas our diet kills hundreds of thousands more. So when you think about, physical inactivity, not getting enough exercise, smoking, all that ranks below diet. Processed foods, animal foods contribute to at least 14 million deaths every year. So those of us involved in this evidence-based nutrition revolution, we're talking about 14 million lives in the balance every year.
Across the Atlantic, Americans more obese than ever,
Ugh.
on their way to death, more information than ever, more money than ever. Why aren't people listening?
Well, they're just confused. They don't know. And the industry wants it that way. This is a standard tobacco industry tactic. Muddy the water, misinformation, right? Such that, so one day coffee is good for you, one day coffee is bad for you. Time magazine put butter is back on the cover. Shows you how desperate they are for dwindling print sales, right? Sells a lot of copies, but sells the public short, right? And so people love hearing good news about bad habits, right? If someone comes out with a diet book saying, broccoli is really good for you, how many books is that going to sell, right? Someone comes out and says bacon and butter is really good for you. You got a bestseller on you. And the media loves those kind of stories, right? And so there's just these conflicting. And so the processed food industry, which is $1 trillion industry, they just hope to confuse people so they'll throw up their hands, eat whatever's put in front of them. That's good for business. But not so good for people.
Is it a conspiracy by these industries, or are they just looking in their best interest because they're just trying to maximize profits?
That's just the way the symptom works. The CEO of Coca-Cola doesn't say, how do I make kids fat today, right? It's like, no, it's how do I make my shareholders happy in this quarter, right? Short-term profits for shareholders, right? Even if that CEO said, I care about my kids, I'm not going to do this anymore, they'd be kicked out. That's the whole purpose of a corporation, maximize, return for their shareholders. How do you do that? Okay, well, you take something with dirt cheap ingredients, right? It's sugar water. In fact, sugar that's subsidized by U.S. taxpayers in the States, right? So it's artificially cheap sugar, and it's what? So it's what, a few pennies to make, and then you sell it for a few bucks a bottle? That's how you make money, right? But something like produce, fruits and vegetables, it's perishable. It goes bad. It rots on the shelf. You put a Twinkie, it can be on the shelf for a couple weeks. But you can't make money. It's not a branded product. There's no markup. So the healthiest foods, the system is just set up to reward companies selling people junk. And unfortunately, and even in the government level, we're subsidizing the worst foods. We're subsidizing sugar, subsidizing feed crops so we can have dollar menu burgers, whereas why aren't we subsidizing fruits and vegetables? So that's why we need to take control over our lives, over our family's health, and really kind of take it back. So the information is there, but unfortunately lost in this cloud of commercial influence. Those fatty foods, those salty foods are working against us, but of course that's what sells. But the good news is, so am I saying what? Oh, so I'm gonna eat healthy, nothing's gonna taste good? At first, that's true, right? The ripest peach in the world will taste sour after a bowl of Fruit Loops. It'll just, because your taste buds are just overwhelmed, right? You all of a sudden go on a low salt diet, your doctor puts you on a low salt diet, everything for the first week tastes like cardboard, right? But what you show, you can do these kind of metabolic ward studies, lock people in a room, actually, very tightly control what people eat. So you have people salt soup to their liking, and you measure how much salt they put in, and then you put them on a low salt diet, and a few weeks later, they actually prefer less salt. And so you give them the soup that originally tasted the best, it's too salty, you don't like it, right? And so your taste buds naturally evolve. In fact, with sugar, it can happen in few as 5 days. You cut out these super sweet foods, within 5 days, all of a sudden natural, whole healthy foods taste good. People see me eat a sweet potato, baked sweet potato with a little cinnamon sprinkled on top, and they're like, I could never live that kind of aesthetic life. but they don't realize, no, that actually tastes good to me.
Right.
And in 5 days of not eating candy bars, it would actually taste good to them too. I mean, actually, I enjoy it. So you get the best of both worlds. Wait a second. It tastes good and you get to live longer, right? But you got to give it a chance to take back your taste buds from the industry that's trying to kind of supersaturate them. I mean, that's why I encourage people to, give it a try, right? Try it as like a free sample, right? Anyone can eat anything for a few weeks, right? In fact, you can eat nothing for a few weeks. I mean, so look, it's just, and so the thought of, wait a second, I can't eat pepperoni pizza for the rest of my life, like that's just mind blowing. People can't even consider that. And of course, that's not what I'm saying, but on a day-to-day basis, we want to eat healthy. But I said, no, give me 3 weeks, right? So 3 weeks, let's eat healthy, and I'll give you all these tips. And 21 days, all of a sudden your taste buds are changing, the food is tasting better, and you're feeling better. And so all of a sudden, your sleep is better. People are like, you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm young, healthy, have no symptoms. Then they thought they didn't have symptoms. They're like, my chronic indigestion went away. Like, I just thought that was normal to just always feel bloated and gross after a meal like this. But no, now, so my, bowel regulated, my periods are less painful. I mean, just like, they just feel so much better. And so then they have this internal motivation. No longer is it like, a few decades down the road, you're not gonna have a stroke or something, but it's this internal, wow, I feel so much better. But you don't know until you give it a try, right? You don't know how good you can feel until you give it a try. And then you have the internal motivation. Like, I feel better. Like, I don't care. So, and then all the science in the world, it's sort of like, well, I know how my body feels, and I feel better eating this way. And yeah, it's great that science shows it's going to reduce my risk of all this other stuff. But again, you don't know till you give it a try. So that's really what I encourage my patients to do.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
Yes. Great. Doesn't he have a lot of great things to say?
He sure does.
Michael Greger. Awesome. I've got his cookbook, How Not to Die. And it's great. He's completely right. Once you get used to good stuff, you just prefer it. And I like the idea that, most people don't want to eat a healthy diet because they're thinking it's going to help them years down the road. But no, it makes you feel better like within 3 weeks. And once you start feeling like that, you start to really say, hey, I'm more interested in eating this way. But I didn't realize is that your taste buds actually change. And so you prefer things to taste that way. And I thought about it, and like for me, most people don't like drinking water for whatever reason. And I was kind of a little bit like that. But now all I drink is water. And now I don't prefer anything else to drink. I just don't like it, whatever it is. I like water, and I'll put a little bit of lime in it, fresh lime in it if I need to. But otherwise, I like the taste of water more than anything. So, I used to always think when I go out to a restaurant, why would I pay for water when I can order some other kind of drink? But now I would prefer, because in Mexico, it's better to order bottled water. So I order bottled water. It's usually more expensive than beer or Coke or anything else. But to me, I prefer the water. So I just do that most of the time, not 100% of the time. But anyway, so that's pretty cool, right?
I think, and it changes your senses, not just your taste, but your sense of smell too. I noticed that once I started cutting back on sugar and salt, I could smell the sugar in the air. Like when people would make bread or just certain dishes, pasta dishes, it just smells so sweet to me. I can smell the sugar. And then my son, he's high blood pressure, so he's had to manage his diet. And the salt thing is like off the chart with him. Like he barely even needs a pinch of salt and he'll be like, ooh, this is so salty. It's so salty. So like, I think like not just your taste senses change, but also your nose, like your sense of smell. You can just, for sugar anyway, I don't know about salt and all that kind of stuff, but I definitely can smell sugar like a mile away. And I'm like, whoa, there is so much sugar in that. Like, what are you eating?
Yeah, and it starts to taste terrible with lots of sugar or lots of salt.
Yeah.
For sure. Crazy. Wow, and hey, Linda, nice to see your name there anyway. Everybody welcome Linda. That's awesome. She's in
Hey,
college.
Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, Linda.
Awesome. Hey, good to see you.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, we're from all over. Dee's in Maui. Ken, where are you at?
I'm in Houston.
Houston, right? Oh yeah. I noticed by the. It's crazy walking through the airport. What's that? Houston, we have a problem or whatever.
We got a problem.
Houston, we have a problem. You see that everywhere in the airport. I've only been to the airport because of it's always a hub, right? Yeah, cool. And Rod, where are you at?
I'm in New York.
New York. Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
And Tom's in New York, right?
He's
He's
a
on-
Jersey guy.
I should remember that. And
He's
Suzanne,
in-
where are you at, Suzanne? Where are
I'm
you?
in
Tom?
White Rock, BC,
Oh
Canada.
yeah, White Rock. Cool.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
about 20 minutes from Vancouver.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, I've lived there for a bit. Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Cool. And Tom, where are you again?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Oh,
right.
Jersey.
I'm from Jersey. I'm from Jersey.
Oh.
He's a Jersey guy.
Cool. So I think I think focusing on health is so important, right? And not only is it a taste thing and a diet thing, but you're saying it affects your sense of smell. It also affects your mind. To me, that's the most biggest thing, because I find trying to do anything, if your mindset isn't set right, you got a challenge. So
Yeah.
if you wake up not feeling motivated or energetic, or you feel tired, or any of those things, you can't do what you want to do. And all those things are related to exercise and diet. And like we were talking before, I never realized exercise was more important for the mind than it is for the physical body. And it is. It took me a whole lifetime to realize that. And it's the same with food. It's amazing, like Michael Greger says, that your taste buds could change just in 3 weeks. And he, with his How Not to Die cookbook, people have used his cookbook for 3 weeks and reversed their diabetes after 3 weeks. And they've had it for a lifetime, like 20 years of insulin shots and all that stuff. And he says they have the kind of an unusual reaction. They're pissed off. They're pissed off that somebody didn't tell them about they could just change everything around sooner just by changing their diet. And in his cookbook, he teaches that, don't give up your pizza, don't give up your hamburgers, don't give up your bad food. Just start to replace the good food in there a little bit, so you don't feel deprived, and then slowly your taste buds and everything will wean yourself off of it, so you don't have cravings for candy bars and potato chips anymore. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you slowly wean yourself off of everything until you're off.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer you have to fill your life with the good things, and then the bad things fall away. Like, it's just, I think that's just the law of science or reciprocity or something, but there's just, you can't be full of good things and have room for bad, whether it's food, people, activities, mindsets. It's like, if you're focused on the positive, the negative just doesn't want to be there. And I think that's the same even with food. If you drink lots of water, you do start to desire less sodas and, bad drinks. Your body starts to feel better. You just want to keep making it feel good. And you notice when you do something that doesn't support that, you feel it, you notice it more. And so then we have that opportunity to make the change more lasting, But okay, so now I was just on this training and it blew my mind. And when you said this mind-body connection, it just reignited my mind blownness about this. Dr. Caroline Leaf, she's like this neuroscientist, right? and she's been in the, she's been doing her business for like 30, 40 years. And so she's at that point in her career where she just mostly has to do lectures and teaching. She doesn't have to do the actual lab work anymore, but she is involved in clinical studies. And one thing that she said was like, the mind is so powerful. Like, it is the powerful thing, right? And so like you said, how exercise is so important for the mind even more than the body, because the mind is what receives the inputs. And like some, a major historical figure said that like every single thing that we see was a thought, right? So our mind is where the thoughts come from, right? So every single thought we have, it translates from our mind into our brain, and then our brain is what fires up, causes the synapses and the webs to be created, and those webs send messages to the body, and that's what makes the body move. So for us as entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, it is so important that we are constantly putting into our mind the right activities, the right everything that we want our lives to be, because then our brain creates the pathways and tells our body to do it, which goes into that whole subconscious thing, right? Like we get all these inputs all day long, whether it's visual, whether it's, from our scent that drives memories, again, thoughts, right? Whether it's conversations that we have or books that we read, like all these different, music that we listen to, all these inputs get translated into our brain, which translates into our body. So yeah, exercise, it's a decision that you make for a healthy body, for a healthy lifestyle, for improved health over sickness or whatever. And then that decision translates into our brain saying, okay, so you've got to take this action. Your arms have to move, your legs have to move, you have to pick up the weights, you have to stand on the treadmill, whatever. And then that translates into a chemical reaction, right? Which then either supports the good health or whatever that we're pursuing, or if we are lazy about it, it just kind of maybe stirs the pot but doesn't really. And I was just so blown away by that. And then you said it again today, like this mind-body connection is so important. Like we really do have to put our minds 100% focused on the good things, so that all of the things that that no longer serve us are removed. And I just thought, yes.
And now
I love that.
And now our task is to go out there and share it with others, because we're all kind of on that page. And having these morning kickstart meetings every morning I find that I feel the difference already. I've been on the, everyone can jump in when they can, but I've been on the calls every time, and they're affecting me completely different, because I'm feeding my mind with. And I like the idea of adding the health element to it, because we're going out there and sharing natural health with people. But now, if we can get that into our brains every week too, we're going to be more focused on health. And I talked to a neuroscientist that I met here on the street in Cabo. He wanted me to take a picture of him, and now we're really good friends. It's awesome. So there's another thing. Destiny is destiny. We were just meant to meet. He was by himself. He wanted a picture. Okay. Now I've known him for like 2 years, so I call him and we talk about stuff. And so what you were saying is exactly right. What he's saying is that's actually a physical part of your body, that brain that grows, and so you have to diminish the old ones to be able to grow the new ones, like physically. He says that takes time, but yeah. So you get rid of the old habits, the stuff you don't want to do, eating unhealthy and not doing any business or whatever, and then you grow the new habits where you're energetic and getting the work done. And that's the thing about our 90-day run. We're just like kind of like going, and it's like everything's changing. Yes. Whether things are happening or not, they're changing. So.
Yes. So good.
Yeah, and that's that's our mission now, is to go out and share and get more people connected with us. So, yeah.
I like that you're sharing that, Wednesdays is about the benefits of health, because with our LifeWave products, like they, we're not all scientists. There's a lot of scientific people in here and a lot of medical professionals and stuff in our business, but not all of us are that way. And so we don't know what is going on. But when you understand like the benefits of Eon being an anti-inflammatory patch. And then you understand that inflammation in the body isn't a bad thing, because it does help to prevent, you know, some illnesses, some chronic situations. But chronic inflammation, like acute inflammation, can be good because it is addressing something that's out of whack. But chronic inflammation is definitely a sign that something in your life needs to change. And just like in the video, some people, like, they didn't know they didn't need to be bloated and gassy all the time, because they aren't aware of their health, not really. And so I like that with this, with our patches, we see, oh, this one's for inflammation, or this one is for sleep, or this one's for, you know, weight management or whatever. Like, you can dig in a little, we get to dig in a little bit deeper and like, okay, so what all is inflammation and why is this such a bad thing? And then you find out, well, diabetes and some of these things are results of chronic inflammation. And this one little patch can help alleviate that for at least 12 hours. Like, that is huge in the concept of what it really does for a person's body. But if they don't know health, if we don't know the benefits of not having chronic inflammation in your body, or even that chronic inflammation is a thing, then that kind of slows us down from being able to tell a person, or being able to recognize when a person says, hey, this is what's going on, I'm feeling really tired and stuff. And you maybe you want to say, oh, maybe you need a sleep patch. But then if you keep listening, you'll hear, well, they're dealing with a lot of inflammation in their body. And so maybe the Eon patch would be a benefit. Or, like, you know, of course, the X39, X49 patches are great for everything. But like that, like us focusing on the health benefits in our own, like in general, can, I think, really help us to dial in on how best to facilitate offering patches to people that might be more of what they need versus just what we are excited about sharing from our line. Does that mean?
Right. Yeah, definitely. And really, I like,
Definitely makes sense.
yeah, right. And also that we don't have to know the science. Like for me, it's like, I know that they work, right? For me, the stem cell patch works. I can feel the difference. I don't have to know why. You know,
Right.
it's nice to know why, but I use it, it works. It I don't use it, it doesn't work. So and so I think it's important not to share the science and the technology side of it. We're sharing our experience. And we might not have a experience with pain, for instance, but we're sharing our experience with you know, stiffness or not sleeping well, or whatever it is, because someone can really connect with that, like what your experience is. Yeah, so awesome. That's
I
cool.
think sleep is one of the big ones.
Yes,
Most people don't get enough sleep,
yes,
or the sleep is interrupted.
and they think that's normal.
And these patches make a big difference.
Yes, yes, and I felt that too. I've always slept well, and now it's unbelievable. It's off the charts. Like the dreams that happen and how deep of a sleep it is. Like, I was even dreaming one night a few weeks ago that I had to wake myself up for some reason in the dream, and I remember how hard it was trying to get myself to wake up. Like, I'm dreaming that I'm trying to wake myself up. Man, I've never done that. It's crazy. But yeah, cool. But yeah, we got 10 minutes left, so anyone can jump in. Yeah, Linda, we always try to keep these calls under around a half an hour, so we're just in and out. The idea is just to get the day going, get us excited, and get some stuff in there. Tom, you got some comments? Can you talk about health? He's still standing on the bridge, but I noticed his mic was on. So that's awesome. But so, Ken, have you felt that it's changed your sleep also?
Oh yeah, a
Yeah.
lot.
Wow.
Now sometimes the dreams get a little strange, like yours was, but I can accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, lucid dreams, I think they call them, no? Or you know that you're dreaming or something.
Weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. But you're right. Like, how much does health affect your day? It changes everything when you've got a good night's sleep. Some people just think it's normal because it's been their whole lives like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, once you experience it, it's a big difference.
Mm,
It's a big difference.
yeah.
So, a lot of times I'm interested in the folks that are um, health and fitness guys, and they have a problem with sleep as well. So when I sell out to them, they get a lot more interested in this product.
Right. And specifically the X39 stem cell patch, or yeah, because I haven't tried. I hear the other. What's the other patch? The one for the
The
skin.
Eon for inflammation.
No, the one Mark always recommends. The one that comes with the creams. The one he uses for sleep.
Oh, aloe vera. Wait,
Yes.
the one that comes with the creams is aloe vera.
Right. He wears that on his forehead, on his third eye, and I haven't tried that. And he just thinks that's unbelievable. He uses it every night, puts it on before he goes to sleep.
My husband ran out of his sleep patches and he didn't tell me. And so I gave him, when I found out, I gave him a couple of mine. And oh my goodness, like it was night and day again. I didn't realize that like for about a week, he'd been kind of staying up later and then waking up through the night. Like I noticed that he'd wake up in the night because I'm a light sleeper, but I just didn't put the pieces back together until he pulled out his patches to grab one. And I was like, you don't have any more sleep ones? He was like, no. And I was like, oh, let me give you some. And then, man, the very next night, boy, if we didn't sleep all the way through the night, and like, it was so nice. Like, I'm a light sleeper, so when he wakes up, it does affect me. And then I'm the kind that when I'm awake, if I'm awake, I'm awake, and it takes me a while to get back to sleep. But boy, as soon as he got that sleep patch back on, like, it's been so nice again, like sleeping through the night. I can't believe it. And I don't even know when he ran out. Like, I just noticed this past week that he was waking up more during the night. So I don't even know how long it's been since he actually ordered. I probably should check because he's on the team, right? But it just makes that much of a difference.
Wow. And which patch are you talking about specifically?
He's wearing the Silent Nights.
The Silent Nights, really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Like, I mean, like, whoa, it's huge. Like, if anything, that's the Father's Day gift, the birthday gift, the Christmas gift, the husband's day gift. Like, he always needs a sleeve. He needs to never run out.
That's funny.
I am so serious.
Wow. Because I have noticed lately I've been waking up like at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'll get up and do a few things because as we listened to who was it, Wayne Dyer, what did he say? He said don't go back to sleep or whatever. That's divine energy coming into you to wake you up or whatever.
Yeah, you should journal or something.
And take pay attention to that. Anyway, but I gotta try because I don't wear the patches at night at all. I wear the X39 a day, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Try one of the sleep patches overnight and see if you can wake up in the morning if you feel drowsy or if you feel really well rested and roaring to go.
Right, that's a definite change for me. I don't feel drowsy at all in the morning. When I wake up, I wake up and I'm ready to go. And I wake up early, like 6 o'clock, 6:30, catch the sunrise. And yes, and that's a big change because I would always feel like not wanting to get out of bed, just tired after a night's sleep. Isn't that crazy?
That is something. Okay, so I was watching Tony Robbins on Facebook yesterday, and he talked about that. He talked about how we think that we get energy from places, but really energy flows after action. So like you can go to sleep for 8 hours and wake up still tired. So clearly sleeping doesn't give you energy. And you can eat a big meal and have lots of protein and all of that. And a lot of people feel so stuffed they just want to lay down, take a nap, veg out. So clearly eating doesn't give you energy, or specifically maybe what you're eating, but like eating doesn't necessarily give you energy.
It gives you less energy, the food you
right
eat.
He said, but you can like do some jumping jacks or whatever, and a lot of times you'll feel that burst of energy. He said, so really, if we think about it, energy comes after action. And so it's so important to make sure that, you know, and that's why I guess in his things, he's always pumping up. And this is my first time, you know, interacting with Tony. So I've never been a part of like the dancing and all of that. But he says like, it's so important.
So,
and I can see why. Yeah.
and even
that's
Tony
pretty
Robbins' the meditation he does in the morning is all about this. It's, you know,
Wow.
he wants to set the intention for the day and get himself going. So
That's
awesome.
cool. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
gonna
But
try
that's a
that.
good point. It's not your food that's going to give you energy. It's not 8 hours of sleep that's going to give you energy. It's getting your body moving and it's getting a deep sleep. I think that's why we feel so rested, is because your mind is sleeping and you're rested. You wake up. You know, even if I get up at 3:30 in the morning for half an hour, I still can get up with no problem. And that's the thing, when I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, I would just wake up and, you know, do something and then go back to sleep. So cool.
And it makes sense too why like those Mark has shared about times where he's like pulled 16 hours and this, that, and the other. Well, in a logical mind and a logical body, at some point you would get tired. But because of the action that he's taking, he's energized and able to keep going. And I'm pretty sure if we think back in our lives, all of us can find one time where no matter what was going on, whatever we were doing just kept us going into the wee hours or whatever. And we were just like, I could never do this again. But we did it. And that's the part. Like if you've done it once, you certainly can do it again.
Cool.
You just have to find that right action.
That's another thing that gives you energy, is being productive and getting stuff done and doing what we're doing and then reaching out to people and being, you know, getting excitement from that gives you that energy. Yeah, that's why you can do it for 18 hours. I did. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, cool. We're down to a minute. But that was really awesome topic today.
Oh, wow. Did you see Suzanne? She said that she's pretty sure that the Eon and the X39 are helping with alcohol cravings. She hasn't had a drink in 116 days now. Woo! Way to go, girlfriend.
Oh wow! I didn't put the two and two together. I noticed you mentioned that on Facebook, but yeah, that's really awesome. Whatever way you could, whatever you have to do to give up alcohol. That's another thing I'm totally giving up. So congrats. That's awesome.
That's super.
Yeah, cool. 116 days is cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've got a lot of people. Anyway, we're running out of time, so we better wrap it up before we get a hard break again. But awesome, guys. Have a productive day. We'll chat tomorrow. And, you know, go out there and get it. Get some
Thank you,
energy.
guys. Have an awesome day.
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. Good seeing you. Good. Thanks for jumping on, Linda. It was awesome.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
That's
everybody.
cool. Hey, Tom.
Bye.
Take care. Have a great day.
All right. Chat
Bye,
later.
Jan.